Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Daisy. I know I'm whispering a little bit because everyone is asleep and I'm trying not to wake them up. So here is the blocking video for the earrings that I promised. Firstly, we're gonna need our earrings, which is very important. And before I start showing you what I'm gonna do, I'm also gonna tell you why I'm gonna do it. So a crochet is the thread is quite soft, right? So the material I'm using is not a very stiff material, so over time it tends to curl like this. So this particular pattern, if you see, if you wear it as it is, after a few minutes it sort of curls up on itself. It will not retain its shape, so it sort of messes with the shape of the earring. You don't want that to happen. There is the option of blocking with starch and other things like that, but those are not permanent. So if I'm selling these earrings or I'm gifting it to someone, I don't want to have to give them instructions on how to block it in case they go out and they get wet in the rain or something like that. So I can't go around expecting everyone to know how to block these earrings. So the glue solution that I use is sort of a permanent method, which is why I prefer that. So first let's prepare. The first thing I'm going to be doing is I'm going to pin them down in place. In case you want the earring to take a particular shape, make sure that you pin it down in that shape. So I want this to be a pin hexagon. So I'm going to stretch this out a little bit and I'm going to pin it in place. As you can see, this is not an actual blocking mat. This is my yoga mat that I never used for yoga. I've only been using it as a blocking mat. If you don't have what you need, use what you have. So here is one of these hexagon earrings pinned down. I know in this angle it doesn't look like a perfect hexagon because of the angle in which the camera is standing, but it is actually straight. So I think I will pause the video now, and I will go on and pin down all of the other earrings in place before I continue. I'm almost done. I'm not sure if you can see the pins. So on this one I have 6 pins, stretched it out. For this earring I just have 2 on either side because the problem I have with this earring is it curls up. So for each pattern you will have to change how you keep the pins, or if you have sufficient pins you can just put pins all around it like you will do for the doily. So for this one I want the shape to be stretched out so it makes that pointy edge on the top and the bottom, but I also want to make sure that it does not curl up on the sides. And in case you've noticed, yes, I like to add my beads before I block, because what I do is micro crochet, and because it's micro crochet, the chain 3 spaces in these earrings are really small. So once I block them with the glue, they get rock hard. I will not be able to even put through a jump ring. That's how hard it gets. And if you see these 3 earrings, I've just put 1 pin on each of them. You're probably wondering why the pin is even there. The thing is, that is not to retain the shape. So I've put that there so that in case someone decides to move the mat for whatever reason, they don't fall off. So that is just there for that. And of course this one, I need this to be a proper semicircle. So the problem for me would be getting this edge to be straight. So I'm just gonna stretch out in this place and pin it down. I don't know if you guys can make out in the camera, but what I've done is for each pair of earring, I have placed the hooks in such a way so that one hook is I have one hook facing each side. So if one hook is facing the right, the other hook is facing the left. That is so that, in case while it dries, this part of the earring gets twisted a little bit, then I will have two earrings which are twisted at the opposite direction. So that way I will have a proper pair. So now that our earrings are prepared, let's go through what else we need. So we enter the pins. I'm using general purpose PVA glue. I prefer PVA glue because it is quite water soluble, but it dries clear and it is water resistant. So after this dries, if I make the earrings wet, it will not get wet. It'll retain its shape, it'll still be rock solid. And some of my friends have suggested that I use fabric glue, but when I used fabric glue, the problem that I faced was it did not mix well with the water. So the fabric glue did not dissolve properly. I'm sorry, dissolve was the word I was looking for. So it did not dissolve properly in the water. So because of that, I had a lot of white patchiness after it dried. So even while I was applying the glue, I used to have these little bits of white here and there because the fabric glue never fully dissolved. I don't have that problem with this glue. It dissolves very well. You'll see that right now. I'm just going to pause this and go get myself some water because I forgot to do that. Just give me a moment. This is not mineral water. I'm just using the bottle. So I like to have a 1:1 solution. Just see how far your PVA glue is and try to match it. And just pour the water till it's double the height. That should do. The thing is, with this glue, for me 1:1 ratio works well. So depending on whatever glue you're using, you will want to experiment with the thickness of the solution. And now you just have to keep mixing till it dissolves fully. I don't really know how to show you that it's dissolved fully. I just do it by feel. So as I'm mixing it through my brush, I know whether it's done properly or not. So this takes a little bit of trial and error. Like I said, depending on the glue you are using, you might need to change the ratio of your water to glue. But 1:1 totally works for me. And this brush that I'm using is just a regular watercolor brush that comes in these little kits for little children. So I just got this from one of my niece's watercolor sets. So now what I am going to do is first of all, I need to sit down because I cannot do the standing. When you are doing this process, please take your time. I like to just dab it onto the earring here and there. This the thread that I've used is pearl cotton thread. So since it's cotton, at first it will look like it's just standing on top, but eventually it will absorb pretty well. So yes, so depending on the solution will depend even on the actual thread that you're using. So what works for cotton might not work for another thread. And while you're doing this, you every once in a while you want to keep stirring the solution so that you don't have any glue sticking down at the bottom. I'm not sure if it's clear to you in the video, but as I'm applying this, pearl cotton thread has a little sheen to it. So because of that, I know where the glue solution is and where it is not, because where it is completely dry, the earring still has that shiny look, and where I have already applied the glue, it is completely soaked and therefore it is no longer shiny. So that's how I know where I've applied the glue and where I have not. You don't want to rush through this step. Take your time, make sure it's all over. It's perfectly fine if you want to add your beads after you've blocked it, but it will totally depend on the pattern that you're using. So if your pattern has a lot of spaces and your space is big enough, you would not have a problem. But if the space you are planning to use the jump ring on is a very small space, then you might have a problem. But in case you change your mind, maybe initially you didn't want the earring to have a bead, but after you've finished blocking, if you're thinking that you want to add a bead, what you could do is you can just take a regular safety pin or even one of these ball-ended pins or whatever those pins are called in your country. I don't even know what these pins are called. Okay, these pins, just take any pin or any sharp edge and just poke a hole. Even a regular sewing needle would do. It just needs to, because I think a sewing needle is almost the same thickness as a jump ring. So if a sewing needle can pass through, a jump ring can definitely pass through. So in case you, so in case you finish blocking a earring and after you blocked it, you wish to add some beads to it, you can still go ahead and do it. That should not be a problem. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the next earring. So this earring has one coat, so I normally go over every one of my earrings and then come back for a second coat. And I just realized that this is probably a little wonky. I want to change that a little bit. I think I'll put it here. This is better. Or I think I need to change it to this. I'm going to stretch it out vertically and then pin down the two sides so that they're not standing up. So I'm not stretching the sides, I've only stretched it vertically. While doing the second coat, I normally do it on the reverse. So I like to, oopsie, I've run out of pins, but that's okay. I guess I will just have to hope this doesn't curl up. So in case you're worried that your earring will stick to your blocking surface, once you add the glue, you can raise it a little bit depending on how many pins you have. I think I'll show you how to do it with this large earring. You need to be particularly careful when you're doing the second round after you turn it over, because my mat is a pink color, so I once had some pink stick onto a white earring. So when you have if it sticks to the back, it's perfectly fine, but if it sticks to the front, you'll have a problem. So when you're doing the second round of blocking, when you have the reverse side facing you, you might want to be a little bit careful over how much glue you're putting. Just try to make sure that there's not too much excess glue, because remember, when we're painting the front with the glue, it is like it's the first time we're painting it, so it would need more glue. Like literally the thread is thirsty, it's just sucking up the liquid. But when you turn it over and you are doing the other side, you need to remember that it's already saturated with one layer of glue, so you would not require as much glue as you used in the first side. So just make sure you don't dab excess glue when you're on the reverse. And when I said lift it up a little bit, this is what I meant. So if I have beads, I just try to stabilize the pin with my one finger and pull up the earring with the bead. Very, very gently. So it's sort of like there is almost 1 centimeter gap between the earring and the mat, so there's no way the back is gonna stick to the mat. You don't want to pull it up too much on top, because if you do that, the pins will tend to come closer together and the earring will lose its tension, so it won't stand stretched out like this. And just raised it very, very little so that it doesn't stick to the bottom. I will do that for all of the earrings, but I'm not going to show you all of that. I will go ahead finish the first side on all the earrings off camera, and then I'll show you what I'm doing for the second side. I have finished one coat on the front, and I actually started turning over some of those. I completely forgot that I was supposed to start recording again, and then I panicked and started. So now I'm just gonna remove each one carefully and try to pin them back in the same way. I always like to start with the top where the earring hook is. So for this particular pattern, I'm just stretching it out fully. Just do it exactly the way you did it for the top. The important thing is just remember that whatever you're doing for one earring, you need to do exactly the same thing on the second earring, or after they dry, they will not look the same. Because once you do that, there's no way you would be able to change it. And I'm not sure how well you can see it in the camera, but the back does have some dry patches, which is why I am also doing this on the reverse. And another thing is, since I'm doing the back of the earring after doing the front, I will let it lie flat like this, so the front of the earring will not curl up on itself. I don't know if I made sense, if you guys understood what I was trying to say. But take like this for example, only these two sides were pinned down, so there's a possibility that this will stick up like this. But if you're gonna let the front be on the bottom, so it will lie flat, the front will look flatter, and it would give a more even appearance overall to the earring. I'm gonna stretch this out just like I did when I was doing the front. I'll pull this up a little bit. Oh, we do have a lot of dry patches at the back. It's a good thing because of the size of the thread and the earring. Because this was micro crochet, I do not really weave in the tails properly. I just put them in through a couple of stitches because, you know, anyway I'm going to be using glue, because once you put the glue all over the back, there will be no runaway threads. You can be sure of that. Okay. Now let's get it on the front. I mean the top, not the front. The top. And I'm going to stretch this earring as much as possible, and then put this on the bottom. Now since the front is facing down, I wouldn't have to pin down the two sides. Okay, I wouldn't have to pin down the two sides over here because for whatever reason it does not curl up on itself on the back, only on the front it curls up. So because of that, I no longer have the danger of it curling up once I put it on the back. I don't know why that is. Maybe it's because of the way the stitches line up. And it's a good thing I'm using this mat. Another thing I like about this yoga mat is this is almost like a grid. So if I want to make sure if my earrings are both stretched to the same length, I just compare it to which line I've pinned it on, and I try to pin it in this exact same spot so that it will look the same size. And in case you're wondering why the patterns for some of these earrings were not on my channel, that's because they are not my patterns. They are someone else's pattern, therefore I do not own the copyrights for that. The other patterns that I posted on my channel, they are all my own original designs, which is why I knew I do not have a problem. So all of the others were my own designs. If any of you wish to make a project, make a earring from that pattern, I would love to see what you do with it. You may go ahead and sell the items you make from my patterns, but please do credit me as the designer. If you're posting on Instagram, do tag me in it. My handle is Made with Love by Daisy. That should be easy to find. Okay. And if you like what you're seeing, do like, comment, subscribe to my channel if you haven't. I would definitely add this video to the playlist called crochet earrings. I will leave the link in the description box. So, and I will also link the blocking video and the other earrings, because if you've been following my tutorials, you would have noticed I've been saying I'll make a blocking video, I'll make a blocking video. On almost every single video I've been saying that. So yes, this was a long video tutorial. I'm so sorry. I won't really call it a video tutorial. It's not like I'm teaching you how to do something. I am just showing you my thought process. I'm just showing you how I work. And this is how I work. If there are any spare pins, please put them away safely. I was talking to myself loudly because I am careless. So yes, here we are on the other side. I'm gonna first dab it generously onto the places where the yarn is still shiny, because I know that those are the dry spots on the back. And the rest of the earring, I'm just going to just flush it around here and there. That was not a time lapse, that's actually how fast I'm doing. I'm not going to speed up this part because I want you guys to actually see what is happening over here, so that you will be able to understand better. I think maybe I will show you maybe 2 more earrings, and then I will stop this video. I normally like to let these dry completely. It's not like fabric glue needs 48 hours to dry, but this is not fabric glue, therefore you do not have to leave it for 48 hours for it to dry completely. Normally if I do it at night, I just leave it overnight. When I wake up in the morning, it is already rock hard. And at that point you will also know if your glue solution is good enough or not, or whether you need to add more water, you need to increase your glue. The thing is, it should be liquidy enough, watery enough, so that you are able to pick it up with a paint and paint it like watercolor. Like it should not be like you're trying to pick up some paste with your brush, if you know what I mean, because that is the consistency of glue. Imagine trying to pick up white glue with a brush. So it should not feel like that. It should feel like you're picking up paint. It should not even feel like thick fabric paint or acrylic paint, because the acrylic paint is literally the same consistency as PVA glue, if you ask me. Maybe that's how I would explain it. You know, in case you've used acrylic paints before and you've diluted them with water to use them, so that is the consistency you want it to be. You should be able to pick it up with a brush easily and just paint it onto your earrings without it feeling like very heavy. And in case you have leftover glue, you can just store it and reuse it later, which is why I have it in this little container, because it has a proper lid and it is airtight. I have stored it even up to 2 weeks. Nothing really happens to it. And in case you have very little and you need to mix a new batch, you can just go ahead and mix it in the same thing. Or if you're paranoid about whether it will be clean, whether you just overall, if you feel like you need to throw away whatever is left and mix again from top, you may go ahead and do so too. That is not really a problem. I'm just mentally thinking if I need to tell you guys anything else, if there is anything else I want you guys to know about before I switch off this video. Because like I was saying, I can obviously not show you the dried earring in the same video, because that's gonna take at least 12 to 18 hours. So I would probably switch it off now, because I can't think of any more things I need to. I think I've told you everything that I wanted to tell you about blocking these earrings. Oh yes, one more thing. You want to make sure that as long as they're wet, they're still flat, and you don't move them around too much. So, because you don't want it to lose its shape. Once it's a little, maybe even 10 hours, even if it's a little soft, you will not know the difference. You can just touch it and see. So once it's completely dried, you can remove it very easily. I'll show you that in the next video when I talk about it. I think that's it for now. I have shown you all the vital information. Told you all the vital information and showed you all the vital steps. Is there anything else? Oh yes, the brush. You want to make sure that you rinse the brush in some warm water so that you don't have any glue sticking on it. Sorry about that. So yes, what was I saying? The brush. Yes, the brush. You want to rinse it with some lukewarm water. Make sure it does not have any glue sticking on it. This is not made from natural hair. I think this is made from synthetic, so which makes washing the glue a lot more easier than the other natural fibers. So as soon as you are done painting your earrings, you want to make sure you box up the remaining glue and clean up your brush so that you can use it the next time. So that's it for now. In the next video, I will show you guys how these earrings look after they completely dried, and what I mean by rock hard. So I will leave a link to my other playlist where I have all my earrings in them. I will be having a lot more earring patterns coming up soon. So in case you haven't subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe. If you like this video, let me know. If you have any questions about this video or anything else related to crochet, you may do so. That's it for now. I will see you in the next video. Bye.